As Hurricane Irma threatened the Suncoast, shelters opened up throughout the area.
But people in the city of Venice were left without an open shelter. At the last moment, Venice's mayor decided to take matters into his own hands and open one at the community center without Sarasota County's approval. That move sparking controversy over who was responsible for South County. ABC 7's Christopher Brantley joins us from Venice now with the latest on that debate. Christopher?
Good evening. This is the Venice Community Center. It is listed as a hurricane shelter, but as Irma approached, the county decided not to open it, and by doing so caused quite a bit of confusion for some residents. When the city of Venice decided to open the community center as a hurricane shelter, despite it being the 11th hour, the building quickly reached capacity, 400 residents and a variety of animals.
It was time, despite the hurricane shutters, despite the new construction. This is where we need to be.
At the time, we interviewed Phil Courtier during Hurricane Irma. He was grateful to have the center open its doors because he and his wife didn't know where else to go. Sarasota County refused to open the Venice shelter because they believed it sits at 13 feet elevation, 2 feet below the expected storm surge. We now know the building sits at 19 feet.
What I saw was a lot of confusion during Irma. No one knew if their house was safe. No one knew where to go for a shelter.
Venice's mayor is now calling for a citywide inventory list of neighborhoods, especially those that have community center buildings. He wants to know which are safe in a storm and which could become shelters in the future. Assistant City Manager Len Bramble says that's not a small job.
You don't know what's happened to that structure since it was constructed. It may have been improved, it may have degraded a lot, you just don't know.
Sarasota County Commissioner Nancy Dieter told us Venice should never have been left without a shelter and promised this would never happen again. She also told us she had the same idea of looking into neighborhood community centers. The county has hired an expert to look into their hurricane response. As for the Venice Community Center, Bramble says he would like to have a study conducted to determine the building's strength in a hurricane.
Yes, it fully meets Category 3 criteria, or yes, it meets these, it does not meet these, it would if you do certain work.
And while that study may be conducted on this building, Commissioner Dieter told us it's unlikely a shelter would be opened here on the island of Venice in the future, simply because of its proximity to the Gulf of Mexico. Live in Venice, Christopher Brantley, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.